Let's start with our first news. Dana White says he is extremely happy with how the historic UFC White House event unfolded. Speaking at the UFC Vegas 119 post-fight press conference, the UFC president reflected on what he believes was the biggest event the promotion has ever delivered. According to Dana, the early numbers have already exceeded expectations, and the global figures, which are expected to be released next week, are absolutely massive. White revealed that roughly a third of the platform's subscribers tuned in to watch the event, highlighting just how much attention the card generated worldwide. He described the viewership as huge and suggested that the full international audience numbers could make this the most successful event in UFC history. Dana emphasized that this was not only the biggest achievement for the UFC, but potentially the biggest moment the sport of MMA has ever seen. He pointed to the event's scale, worldwide reach, and unprecedented level of interest as proof that the promotion continues to grow at an incredible pace. The UFC boss also spoke about the company's relationship with Paramount. He reminded everyone that since the conclusion of the ESPN deal, his primary responsibility has been to deliver major results for the new broadcast partner. And in his view, the UFC has done exactly that. White confidently stated that the company has delivered in a big way during the first 6 months of the partnership. He explained that many developments have been kept quiet behind the scenes, allowing official announcements to come directly from the appropriate parties when the time was right. He also noted that some markets are still working through pay-per-view reporting processes, which is one reason the complete worldwide numbers have not yet been released. However, once all the figures are finalized and announced next week, Dana expects the results to confirm just how enormous the White House event truly was. Move on to another news. It looks like Justin Gaethje is not ready to walk away from MMA anytime soon. During a recent conversation with Joe Rogan, Gaethje was asked about his future in the sport and whether retirement was on the horizon. Despite being 37 years old and having already built one of the most exciting careers in UFC history, Gaethje made it clear that he still feels motivated to compete. According to Gaethje, he has no plans to hang up the gloves right now. He explained that there is nothing inside him telling him that his journey is over. In fact, he believes he still has the desire and competitive drive needed to continue fighting at the highest level. For fans who are concerned that his recent appearance might have been one of his last, those comments should come as a huge relief. With Gaethje confirming his intention to fight again, attention immediately shifts toward what could be next for him in the lightweight division. One name that continues to stand out is Arman. Currently sitting near the very top of the rankings, Arman remains one of the leading contenders in the division. Because of the rankings situation and the lack of many fresh matchups available at the elite level, all signs seem to point toward a potential showdown between Gaethje and Arman. It would be a fascinating matchup between two fighters with very different styles. Gaethje has built his reputation on relentless pressure, devastating power, and an incredible ability to create chaos inside the cage. Arman, meanwhile, has established himself as one of the most technically skilled and well-rounded competitors in the lightweight division. A fight between them would likely carry major title implications and could easily become one of the most anticipated bouts in the division. The timing of Gaethje's statement is also interesting, as discussions surrounding Arman have continued to generate attention across the MMA community. While there has been plenty of speculation regarding future matchups and business developments involving people connected to Arman, the biggest takeaway remains clear. Justin Gaethje is still planning to fight, and he is far from finished with the sport. For now, fans can expect the former interim champion to remain active, and if the UFC decides to book him against Arman, it could become one of the biggest lightweight fights available right now. Move on to another news. Justin Gaethje has shared an interesting perspective on Ilia's future following his recent defeat, suggesting that the loss may have consequences that go far beyond the result itself. While Gaethje fully believes Ilia possesses the talent and skill set required to become a champion again, he thinks the biggest challenge could be rebuilding the aura that made him so dangerous in the eyes of his opponents. According to Gaethje, one of Ilia's greatest weapons was not just his striking, grappling, or fight IQ. It was the fear he created before the fight even began. Opponents would enter the cage already convinced they were facing someone nearly impossible to stop. That psychological advantage can be incredibly powerful at the elite level, and Gaethje believes that Advantage may have taken a serious hit after the loss. Gaethje explained that he has seen this situation before. He pointed to Tony Ferguson as an example, saying that when he defeated him, he did not necessarily destroy his confidence. Instead, he changed the way other fighters viewed him. In Gaethje's opinion, that shift in perception can completely alter a fighter's career trajectory. He said that before his defeat, Tony was viewed as someone you simply could not break. He was seen as a fighter who could absorb punishment, keep moving forward, and survive situations that would stop almost anyone else. Many opponents entered those fights believing they were facing an unbreakable force. However, once that image was shattered, everything changed. Gaethje believes that when one fighter proves a seemingly invincible opponent can be beaten, future challengers gain confidence. They no longer enter the cage believing they are facing an unbeatable monster. Instead, they begin to think that victory is possible, and that mindset can make a massive difference. That is why Gaethje thinks Ilia may now face a similar challenge. He emphasized that Ilia absolutely has the skills to return to the top and capture championship gold again. But the road ahead could become much tougher if future opponents stop fearing him the way they once did. For Gaethje, the issue is not whether Ilia remains talented. The issue is whether he can continue dominating opponents once the invincible image has disappeared. Rebuilding that reputation may be one of the toughest tasks of his entire career, especially against fighters who now step into the cage believing they can beat him. Move on to another news. Umar Nurmagomedov has some very strong opinions about a potential showdown with Song Yadong. And judging by his recent comments, he is not expecting a difficult night if the fight becomes official. At the moment, the matchup has not yet been formally announced by the UFC. However, reports indicate that the promotion is actively working on booking the fight after David Martinez was forced to withdraw. With both fighters already discussing the matchup publicly, fans are eagerly waiting for confirmation. Speaking recently, Umar made it clear that he is not particularly impressed by Song's overall skill set. In fact, he went as far as calling him a punching bag and questioned whether he belongs among the elite fighters in the bantamweight division. Umar pointed to Song's previous performances and argued that he has seen enough to believe the fight would be relatively straightforward. According to Umar, the only real threat Song brings into the cage is his punching power. Beyond that, he does not see many areas where his opponent can create problems. Despite his confidence, Umar stressed that he would still prepare seriously and approach the contest professionally. He made it clear that there would be no underestimation, even if he views the matchup as an easy fight on paper. Interestingly, Song appears to feel exactly the same way. During a recent interview, he expressed complete confidence ahead of a possible clash with Umar. Song claimed that he possesses special tools designed specifically for this matchup, and promised that fans would see them if the fight happens. He repeatedly emphasized how confident he feels about his chances, and suggested that beating Umar would not be a major challenge. Beyond the potential fight with Song, Umar also revealed what truly motivates him at this stage of his career. Surprisingly, it is not necessarily winning the bantamweight title. Instead, the fight he wants most is a rematch with Merab. As many fans remember, Merab handed Umar the first professional loss of his career in January 2025. Since then, Umar has remained focused on getting another opportunity to face him. He even admitted that if given a choice between an immediate title shot and a rematch with Merab, he would choose the rematch. Umar explained that he still wonders how that fight would have unfolded under different circumstances. He revealed that he was dealing with a broken hand and believes he accepted the fight without having enough time for a proper training camp. Looking back, he admitted it was a mistake to take the fight on such short notice. Now, more than anything, he wants another chance to prove what he can do when fully healthy, fully prepared, and operating at 100%. Move on to another news. Dana White has finally addressed the controversy surrounding the recent fight between Alex Pereira and Ciryl Gane, and his comments have added even more fuel to an already heated debate among MMA fans. Following the fight, a major talking point was whether Pereira absorbed multiple illegal strikes to the back of the head. Many fans, analysts, and fighters reviewed the footage and questioned whether the action should have been stopped or whether warnings should have been issued during key moments of the contest. Now, Dana White has shared his perspective on the situation. According to Dana, after watching the fight, it is hard to deny that Pereira was struck in the back of the head on several occasions. While he stopped short of accusing anyone of intentional wrongdoing, he acknowledged that the footage clearly shows moments where those strikes appeared to land in an illegal area. However, Dana also emphasized the reality of mixed martial arts. He explained that the sport is often incredibly chaotic, especially during grappling exchanges and scrambles. When fighters are constantly moving, rolling, defending positions, and attempting to escape dangerous situations, accidental fouls can sometimes occur in the heat of battle. That said, Dana suggested that the referee could have potentially handled the situation differently. He mentioned that a warning may have been appropriate, especially if there were repeated strikes landing near the back of the head. A simple reminder to be careful with the target area might have helped prevent further controversy from developing. Even with those observations, Dana did not place blame entirely on the officials or on either fighter. Instead, he acknowledged how difficult it can be for referees to make split-second decisions while trying to monitor every detail during high-pressure exchanges. Perhaps the most interesting part of Dana's comments involved Pereira himself. Dana made it clear that he gives significant weight to the former champion's concerns because of the type of person Pereira has consistently shown himself to be throughout his career. According to Dana, Alex Pereira is not someone known for making excuses after a loss. He is not known for complaining, creating controversy, or searching for reasons to explain away a defeat. Because of that reputation, Dana believes that when Pereira speaks up about something, people should pay attention. Dana explained that if Pereira felt strongly enough to raise concerns about the strikes, then he likely genuinely believed those shots affected him during the fight. For Dana, that credibility matters. While the controversy may never completely disappear, one thing is clear: the discussion surrounding those alleged illegal strikes is far from over, and Dana White understands why so many people continue to debate the issue. Move on to another news. Alexander Volkanovski has revealed that he would absolutely be open to a blockbuster showdown with Justin Gaethje. But he also made it clear that he believes Arman is the fighter who truly deserves the next shot at lightweight gold. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Volkanovski discussed the possibility of moving up and taking on Gaethje in what would undoubtedly be one of the most exciting fights the UFC could make. When asked whether he would accept such an opportunity if it were offered, his answer was immediate and straightforward. According to Volkanovski, if the UFC approached him with the fight, he would say yes without hesitation. He explained that he has never been the type of fighter to demand opportunities that he has not earned. Throughout his career, he has consistently believed that title shots and major opportunities should be deserved through accomplishments inside the cage. Volkanovski reflected on his own journey, pointing out that he defended his featherweight title multiple times before pursuing champion versus champion opportunities. Even after experiencing setbacks, he focused on rebuilding his position through victories rather than demanding special treatment. He explained that after losing his belt, he worked his way back into championship contention and proved himself again. Because of that mindset, he does not feel comfortable calling for opportunities that he has not clearly earned. However, if the UFC decides that a fight with Gaethje makes sense, he would gladly step into the octagon. The former champion even joked about the matchup, noting that fans would get to watch two 38-year-old warriors battle it out in one of the sport's most competitive divisions. He made it clear that from an excitement standpoint, it is a fight he would definitely embrace. At the same time, Volkanovski emphasized that his personal willingness to take the fight does not change his view of the lightweight title picture. In his opinion, Arman has done enough to earn the next championship opportunity and should be the fighter standing across from the champion next. Still, Volkanovski acknowledged that the UFC's business decisions do not always follow a straightforward path. He suggested that when fighters are not fully aligned with what the promotion wants, or when they are not viewed as company favorites, there can sometimes be consequences that affect their opportunities. Whether that impacts Arman's future remains to be seen, but Volkanovski's position was clear. He believes Arman deserves the next title shot. Yet, if the UFC offers him a fight against Gaethje, he would accept it immediately. For now, the possibility of Volkanovski versus Gaethje remains one of the most intriguing matchups available, featuring two battle-tested veterans who have built their reputations on taking the toughest challenges possible and delivering unforgettable performances whenever they compete. Move on to another news. Islam Makhachev has fired some serious verbal shots at his upcoming opponent, Ian Machado Garry. making it clear that he is far from impressed with the Irish contender ahead of their highly anticipated welterweight title clash. Despite being officially scheduled to defend his championship against Gary, Islam did not hold back when discussing the matchup. In fact, his comments suggested that this was not even the fight he truly wanted. The reigning champion openly admitted that another challenger interested him far more from both a competitive and legacy standpoint. According to Islam, Michael Morales is the opponent he would have preferred to face. The undefeated contender has been rapidly climbing the rankings and has established himself as one of the most dangerous rising stars in the division. Islam explained that Morales presents a much more intriguing challenge because of his overall skill set, particularly his grappling abilities. The champion specifically pointed to Morales' ground game, arguing that it is significantly more advanced and dangerous than what Gary brings to the table. For Islam, victories over fighters with elite wrestling and grappling credentials carry greater value because they test the areas where he prides himself the most. Those comments alone generated plenty of attention throughout the MMA world. But things became even more interesting when new training footage began circulating online. The clips reportedly showed Gary struggling during a recent grappling session, with many fans claiming he was being controlled and dominated throughout the exchange. As expected, the footage immediately sparked debate across social media. Supporters of Islam quickly pointed to the clips as evidence that the champion's criticism may be justified. While training footage never tells the complete story, many observers felt it reinforced the perception that grappling could become a major issue for Gary once he steps into the octagon against one of the most accomplished wrestlers in the sport. For Islam, the situation appears straightforward. He believes Gary lacks the elite ground skills necessary to compete with the very best grapplers at welterweight. That assessment has become a central part of his pre-fight narrative, and he seems determined to prove it when fight night arrives. At the same time, Gary now has an opportunity to silence every critic who doubts him. The challenger has built his career on confidence and self-belief, but he enters this fight facing perhaps the toughest test imaginable. One thing is certain, Islam is not treating Gary as a future champion. Based on his recent comments, he sees this matchup as an opportunity to make a statement and remind everyone exactly why he remains one of the most dominant fighters in mixed martial arts today.